Good morning, LinkedIn family. Welcome to a meet and greet Monday. I always love doing coffee with Bob's on a meet and greet Monday because I like introducing you to new folks. Beth is, I almost slipped and called her Bethy because that's what I call my sister, Bethy.
I'll answer to that.
Beth Harrison is a new connection of mine. She and I hooked up through the really great Chuck Hester. She's working with Chuck today, and amazingly, Beth is a voiceover coach. So I'm really excited to be talking to her because she's almost like a star to me, that has to do this voiceover stuff. So if you're not connected with Beth, if you're not following Beth, if you're not engaging with her, you need to. As a voiceover coach, she can help your business, I think, and she could be that one connection that changes your life. Beth, thank you so much for joining us on Coffee with Bob. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Bobby. You don't mind if I call you Bobby since you
that I do mind. But that's okay.
I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Thank you,
That's
Bob.
okay. Tell us a little bit about what you're working on these days.
Well, Bob, I'm in the middle of doing kind of a big career pivot. So I've been a speech pathologist for the most of my life for the past 27 years. And then I did a 21-year stint in the Air Force, also as a speech pathologist. I've always been interested in all things voice related, like how does the voice work, anatomy, physiology, how does it make different voices and dialects and things. And I just think that all things voice are really interesting. And I thought that would be a natural transition for me to go from speech pathology to voiceover work.
Wow.
So I've spent a lot of years in my life talking to people, educating, explaining, narrating, and I thought, I really love the voice, and why not kind of use these skills and transition into something different.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for your service. I did not realize that.
Yeah.
April Spritz, one of my good friends on LinkedIn, is also retired from the Air Force, and my niece is a JAG in the Air Force.
Wow.
Just
cool.
moved from South Korea and now is stationed in Japan. So very cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Nice assignments.
Yeah, it's fun. For me, I hate my own voice. I don't like the way I sound recorded. I have MS, so my enunciation is not always that great. What do you suggest to people like that?
Well, I think that it's important to realize that none of us really like the way we sound because we're listening to our voices from within our own, it's going through the bones and the cavities in our heads. And so when I hear my own voice or you hear your own voice, it sounds different to you than it does to me. Oh. So I listen to your voice. I think you sound great. You have a nice tone. It's nice and smooth. But it may sound a little different inside your own head. And you just, try not to be so critical of what you're hearing or focusing on that so much. There's really nothing that you need to fix.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. So, coming from the background of being a speech pathologist and transitioning over to being a voiceover coach, right? Or not voiceover coach, but being artist. A voiceover artist. Yeah. Doing that, what do you think is the biggest asset you bring to an organization that's looking for you to do voiceover work for them?
Well, I think two things from my speech pathology background. I've just learned a lot about communication. I know how the voice works. I know how to utilize it the most efficiently and effectively to get a message across. I understand how to make the changes to my voice for different tones or to portray or convey a different style of message. I also, from my Air Force time, I learned how to be prepared, show up on time, be reliable, get things done quickly. In the Air Force, a lot of things are hot. You got to get it done tomorrow. You need it done today. So I'm not put off by quick turns or anything like that. So I think that those two things combined kind of would make me pretty easy to work with. I'm very flexible. And I would just bring my positive attitude and all that with me to help you with your project.
Awesome. Now, do you get into the creative side of it too, as well as, like the writing of whatever voiceover work needs to be done? Are you a part of that?
I haven't, but just because of my speech pathology background, and I think that I could get into the editing part for the scripts if people did need help with the editing. That could be something that I would do, but I haven't done it yet.
Okay. And what has been some of the voiceover work that you've done so far?
Bob, I'm just in the early stages. I'm the baby pivoter. So I just picked this, I stopped speech pathology in February because of the COVID.
Oh, okay.
I was working in a hospital and it was just a little bit too dangerous to risk bringing the virus home to my aging parents. So that's kind of when I decided I should just go full on into voiceover and let that speech pathology go for a while. So I've spent the whole year training, getting coaching, researching, reading, taking classes on voiceover, on small business development, and that kind of stuff, just trying to get prepared because I don't want to just assume like, oh, hey, I can do this. I can just buy a microphone and sit in my closet and voice something.
Yeah.
So I've been really trying to get as prepared as possible so that I can really, bring some skill and some knowledge to this when I'm ready to start. So I'm in the ready to start phase, but I haven't started.
Ah, gotcha. Well, what's amazing is that I have quite a few connections that are in the process or have just recently published books.
Oh.
What are your thoughts on, doing books to tape?
Well, I've always been really interested in audiobooks. That was one of the things that first drew me in. I listened to a podcast. It was an NPR This American Life podcast where they were talking about doing audiobooks while traveling. I thought, well, that sounds really fun. So I think that is something I'd like to get into. I think you do have to be prepared and learn about audiobooks. And, it isn't just so easy to sit and read a book into a microphone and shoot it
Right.
off. So I think with a little bit more education on that, I think I could get into that at some point.
Awesome. That's incredible. So really from a voiceover perspective, you're mainly looking for commercials, right?
Kind of like narration, anything narration related, medical narration or
Mhm.
e-learning, corporate narration, telephony, on hold messages, even
Oh,
documentaries, that kind of stuff I feel would be a good first transition for me.
great. I didn't even think of that. Leaving
Right.
for messages and telephony. That's an awesome idea. That's incredible.
Right. Yeah,
Especially for us who don't like the sound of our own voices that are recorded.
exactly. Why not, have somebody else record your messages for you? Or, if you're a business and you need to have various on hold messages or different instructions,
Hmm.
you can always just have somebody like me on standby to change up your stuff. Or if you have people coming or going, you just kind of have new things in and out. So yeah, I think that's interesting too, even though it doesn't sound very exciting.
Well, it does. I know several organizations that have professional, quote unquote, professional voice actors do their welcome messages and stuff like that
Yeah.
on phone systems. And
Yeah, I think it's
yeah,
fun.
yeah, I mean, I've always been interested in that. So that's great that you want to get into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on the pivot. I think you have an amazing future ahead of you, and I'm glad we're connected so that I can keep track of you and maybe even leverage you a little bit at some point.
I really appreciate
You,
your taking the time with me, Bob. This is
oh,
really generous of you to just share your knowledge and your contacts. This is amazing what you do for people.
thank you. I appreciate that, and
Yeah.
it's all about making that one connection, right? And it's
Right.
all about helping others get started or continue their growth or continue their process on in life. So, um,
Exactly. We can all help each other in some way.
Yep. I truly believe that. So
Yeah.
if you're not connected to Beth here, if you're not following her, if you're not engaging with her, I highly recommend it. As you can tell, she has a very, very pleasant voice, and I think she can add some incredible features, not only to your organization but to your LinkedIn profile now too, because now we have the ability to have a little voice introduction, and I think you should
Right.
hit Beth up for that.
Right. I need to make a video.
There you go. Well, thank you, Beth. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you joining me, and you have yourself a wonderful day.
Thank you, Chuck. Chuck, I'm sorry. I was working with Chuck on my LinkedIn.
No, I get it.
Bob.
He and I are tight, so that's good.
Chuck has got me doing all kinds of homework for my profile, so I'm sorry about that.
No worries at all. I get it. Chuck's amazing. Thank you again. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Bob. Bye.
Bye.